Hello, how's it going? Here I am, in a car, with a scraggly beard and a fun hat. So that's something. A few days ago, I posted a video poking fun at renting in London, and this video today is absolutely nothing like that. So please bear with me, or not. Feel free to go ahead with anything else you could be doing with your day. I'm sure it's much more valuable than watching this. But seeing that you're still here, I'm just going to go ahead and talk anyway. So sucked in, you're here now. Today, I would like to talk about the concepts of self-help and mindfulness. My close personal friend, Wikipedia, smartest guy I know, we go way back, such a rascal, Mr. Steal Your Girl, he defines mindfulness as the practice of purposely bringing one's attention in the present moment without evaluation. You've definitely heard of this term before in some kind of capacity. Perhaps you've dabbled with the Calm or Headspace meditation apps, or perhaps you've dabbled with someone from Tinder who's really into their journaling.
Dear Diary, today I saw a dog.
For context here, over the last little while, I have been embarking on a bit of a reset, I guess you could say, in my life. A new chapter, trying to shake up a lot of the things that have taken up my time in the last handful of years. Work, hobbies, lifestyle, habits, all of that stuff, but also a more fundamental reassessment of my values, what I want out of life. I also turned 30 recently, so clearly I am a introspective, contemplative old man now.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And during this process, I'm starting to embrace that mindfulness may be one of the best ways to predicate any kind of self-help journey from when you're feeling at the bottom. Perhaps that means rock bottom in your life, or at the bottom of a very specific challenge ahead. For example, wanting to get fit, learning a new skill, or mastering the skill of staring out to sea in a contemplative old man stare. And so hopefully this could be useful to you, one of approximately 6 people who may watch this. So then let me be honest. I have battled for a number of years now with good old-fashioned anxiety. It's a pretty common thing and not an especially unique thing to be talking about anymore. According to Beyond Blue, 1 in 5 Australian men will deal with an anxiety condition in their lifetime. And there's lots of things to unpack within that, but specific to this video, one aspect of anxiety for me has been always seeking to invent and identify problems to solve in my head. Some of which may be real, many of which probably are not. But underpinning that, I think, has almost been a subconscious belief that everything can be solved. It's just a matter of more analysis, more effort, and ultimately a fear that if it can't be solved, then something bad is going to happen and I'll be a lesser person for it, and I'll put all the blame in the world on myself for that thing. You can definitely relate to this to some certain extent at least, and undeniably, in moderation, this tool is very useful for us as humans because complex problems require complex analysis, and we should be grateful and even celebrate the fact that we have the ability in our brains to be able to do so. But here's the problem that I'm starting to see more clearly. The mind, by itself and unchecked, will never know when enough is enough. When a reasonable amount of thinking is required before overheating and causing more problems to us than the benefits that could be gained from the problems that it is trying to solve. The mind will always seek to consider more, going deeper into an issue to seemingly invent stuff out of midair. Have you considered this? What if this happens? What about that risk? How likely is that benefit to really actually be that good? How annoying is this voice? At least in my experience, an unchecked mind is an endless plunge down a rabbit hole, and I'm not even that fond of rabbits, and I don't know why they would dig holes that you would plunge down. They're kind of like a glorified possum. Like, what even are you, you Bugs Bunny looking motherfucker? But the deeper you go down that rabbit hole, the tougher it is to find your way back out. I have struggled with anxiety, fear, panic attacks, low self-esteem, obsessive-compulsive thoughts and habits, all of that stuff, with the end result, the end symptom, being too psyched out to act productively at all, or even acting in a self-damaging way. What I am beginning to learn from mindfulness is that the mind is an instrument. It's not the whole thing in you or your life. It's just a tool, like a screwdriver, or a hammer, or this guy. You may have heard frequently used lines like, "You are not your thoughts," and that has to be true, because in a world of 7+ billion humans on this planet, obviously every person's interpretation of the world is an incomplete, subjective, and biased lens for viewing the world. We worry about things that we cannot control. We conjure up future scenarios in our head that have not, and in all likelihood will not, come to fruition, at least not in the exact way that we think about it. And all the while, we bunker down in our own metaphorical four walls, while outside of those four walls, the world in all of its limitless and diverse expressions plays out. Spontaneity, beauty, connection with others, risk-taking, enjoyment, all of the things that could never be forethought, planned, or analyzed into reality. And if they could, then they wouldn't be enjoyable at all. Kind of like you ruining a surprise party by telling the birthday boy before.
What? Surprise party! Surprise party? Are you drunk? Of course I am. It's a party.
What I am beginning to learn is to always keep centered in the understanding that all we have is right now, this moment, this year, this month, this week, this day, this second. Yeah, mate, we get it. Shut up. Your experience can be best felt right now. And so what does that mean then for self-help? Why is that useful for someone looking to embark on a journey to improve their life somehow? It might seem counterintuitive when we are trying to change something that surely requires more effort to transform ourselves. But as true as that may be, perhaps it's best to start from the based assumption that whatever mountain ahead of us exists, despite all the stuff we want to change in the long term that requires inevitably a lot of sacrifice and strain and discipline and effort, all that actually matters is right now, this moment. And that's where I feel the intersection of mind and non-mind can usefully combine. And that's why I titled this video as The Other Half of Self-Help, because I think that much is left on the table when we only think about thinking ourselves to feeling better about ourselves. The equilibrium of self-help strategy should be to use the mind as a tool, but only as a tool. Yes, take the time to sit down, tally up everything that is good in your life right now, everything that is bad in your life right now. Think about where you want to improve. Think about how you want to improve. Think about when you would realistically like to improve by. And when you're doing the hard work required, use your mind to grit your teeth to remember all of the self-assessment that you did. But then, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of your mind. Approach today only as today. Forget about the mountain ahead, because for all intents and purposes, it does not exist. I think that the risk of entirely living in our mind is that as we take steps each day, we are only ever looking at the top of the mountain, and we are beating ourselves up that we are not there yet. We get frustrated about that. We question whether we want to be climbing this mountain at all. We question whether we're on the right set of stairs. We get insecure about where other people are climbing on their own mountains, wanting to shake our fists at those above us and kick those who we think are below us. What's worse, if we live like this, then the top of the mountain will only ever be an illusion, a constantly shifting destination that we are never able to actually summit. All we are doing then is begrudgingly climbing and hating the trek along the way, and that seems like a pretty shit life to me. Plus your hands and feet are all cold, and you get frostbite, and you get eaten by a polar bear. Not so concerned about the climb now, are ya? Nah, that'd be a pretty badass way to go, actually. Fair enough. This feels like a more balanced and healthier strategy, akin to the saying, keep your feet on the ground and your head in the stars, clouds, something like that. By only focusing on the next step, it makes it unbelievably easier to be more disciplined in approaching each day at a time. You don't have to be swayed by self-doubt when you question how long you can keep up that new healthy habit you're cultivating. You don't have to be afraid of failing and being ridiculed by imaginary other people if things that you're trying don't work out in a year's time. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff, because for all intents and purposes, it does not exist. But finally, what I feel is beginning to be transformational to me is that this isn't necessarily just a way to neatly conceptualize the world in a really tight-gripped way, but it should really make things softer, giving us a bit more space, happiness, and lightness in our little heads. Not me though, I've got a big old head. Like physically, it is an above average sized head. I'm surprised this hat even fits on here. It's a miracle. To know simultaneously that we can have dreams and hopes and vision and goals for the future to work hard for, while at the same time being able to laugh at it all, and recognizing that any time that we do think about the future, all it is just some incomplete, unlikely theory keeping in our own heads. And that should make us go a little bit easier on ourselves. In short, each day when we wake up, we know where we're going and why, while at the same time are at peace with the fact that all we have is this. I hope wherever you are right now on your own little mountain, you're keeping well and taking care of yourself. And this helps maybe just a little bit. Chat to you soon. Bye-bye.